And thank you very much for tuning in. And I believe this moment is a moment that God has designed to change, transform, and catapult your life to a new level. We all know that definitely, according to the account in the Bible, Lazarus died and he went to heaven. Abraham died and he went to heaven. They serve the same God. Lazarus went to heaven, being a very poor man. But he made it to heaven. But Abraham was very rich. He made it to heaven. But they serve the same God. So I believe that God wants you to have an understanding of how to make an impact in your life before you depart. So today I have a very, very special guest. A very special guest this moment, whom I believe has made a tremendous impact in our society and beyond. And he's here today, and I believe by the special grace of God, what he will say today will help inspire you to success. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to this live broadcast coming your way by courtesy of Flaming Voice of Hope Radio on 93.7, Universal Radio 98.9, and Bethel Destiny Radio of Harvest Continental Ministry on 94.1. Okay, so if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you are welcome. Good. Well, I want to ask my guest is somebody whose name is a household name in Sierra Leone. He is a man who has made tremendous mark. And I admire him because, of course, he's much younger than me, but he's full of passion, and I couldn't imagine what he's accomplished at this stage in his life. Is something worth, noted. Sir, you are welcome, sir. Can you please tell us, the viewers and listeners, your name, a little bit about your family background and the early stages of your life?
Thank you so much, His Grace, Bishop Dr. Frederick Abu Koroma. I consider it a privilege at this particular moment, and I'm delighted to be on this program that is designed to create an impact, in the lives of our listeners out there. Mm-hmm. So I'm so grateful for that in the first place. I want to say thank you very much, sir.
Amen.
My name is Julius Laga, and I am the diocesan bishop of the second diocese of the Harvest Intercontinental Ministries, that comprises of Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria, and also on the international front, which is Harvest Intercontinental Ministries Unlimited. I serve as the General Secretary of the organization. And of course, I am a Sierra Leonean. I was born here in Sierra Leone in a town called Maburuka, the Tonkolele district in the northern province. Mm-hmm. And I was raised, of course, in that same town, within the Tonkolele district, environment. And of course, God has helped me, by the grace of God, to be raised, by my father at some point. Then, of course, by my mother at some point, but most part of my life, I virtually, I would say, raised myself up.
Wow.
Yes, my father died at a very early age.
Okay.
Yes, by then I was in Form 1, when I lost my father.
Wow.
Yes, so that was actually the beginning of the struggle, in my life. So, in a nutshell, that is what I would like the listeners to know who I am, and where I hail from.
Okay, so you attended boys' school in Maburka.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting because I attend the same school.
Wow.
So we're all product of MOBA.
That's right.
Okay, that sounds very good, very good, very good, Bishop Laga. So you came from the south. Can I put it that way?
Yes, sir.
I came from the south.
Yes, my father actually hailed from the south, from Moamba district.
Okay.
You know, he came from Bangmawakwelu,
Okay.
you know, which is Moamba district. But apparently, he went to work in the north.
All right.
You know, he was a treasury clerk, I mean, in the north, and that was where he served, I would say, for the rest of his life.
Okay.
You know, but he's actually a Mende man, you know, from Moamba district, you know, and he met my mother, you know, in Magburuka there.
Is your mother a Timney?
No, my mother is a Kranko.
Oh, she's a
You
Kranko.
know,
Okay,
of
all
course, the Kranko that are also based within the Tonkolele district. You know, there are Krankos in Tonkolele district where they call Sambaya Bendugu.
Okay.
You know, that's where my mother came from. So she's a Kranko. So she and my father met, you know, and my father, I mean, the both of them got married.
Okay.
You know, and I became a product, but not too long from that, they separated.
Okay.
You know, so from that early stage, my father and my mother, you know, separated. In fact, when I grew up, I mean, I never, you know, met my father and my mother together. You know, so I grew up with my mother until I was in class 3, you know, when my mother wanted to go and further her education, you know, so she decided to send me back to my father.
Okay.
So I went back to my father when I was in class 3. I was there until I went to Form 1 when he died. You know, so when he died, that was when I went to Magburuka Boys School because they have a boarding facility. So that was where I started like living on my own.
How was life like? Because I was in Maboruka in the 70s.
Yeah.
You were in the
In the 80s, mid-80s, yeah.
So I was life like in Maboruka.
Bishop, it was tough.
Definitely.
You know, Magburuka is known as a dry place.
The guy gone.
Dry ground, I'm telling you. I mean, it was tough, you know, and of course, after my father died, you know, my mother tried, but she was a bit limited, you know, because of resources. So virtually, I had to really depend, you know, on the grace of God to sustain me, you know, in that town. Wow. You know, I have to like even help some of my friends, you know, who my schoolmates, even my classmates. Some of them I have to like launder for them just to feed.
Oh my
You know, in fact, like, there was one who actually hosted me at some point when I could not stay in the boarding home any longer because I could not afford to pay. So I have to like stay with a friend who was in day school, you know, in his room. So I mean, just for me to survive, you know, he gave me, you know, kerosene for me to be selling by pint.
You sold kerosene by pint?
Yes, for a friend of mine, you know, so that we can survive. You know, so after school, I will take the kerosene gallon, I will go around selling kerosene. Of course. You know, and of course, there was also at some point, I stayed with another lady within the same Agoroka. She also, like, she was a trader. So, of course, I mean, I have to sell for her. You know, of course, you know the Timni people, they are more into trading.
Yes.
You know, so after school, you have to like take, sometimes she will give me boiled mango to go and sell, you know, and sometimes she will give me baby clothes, you know, to go and sell on the streets.
Wow.
You know, I've also like sell patch granite, you know, on the streets, you know. So, I mean, I was engaged in all of those, you know, kinds of things just for me to survive, you know, while I was in school, you know, in Maburuka.
Wow. So, in other words, life was like tough for you.
Yeah, it was not easy. It was very, very challenging, you know.
But you were determined to be a success.
Yes, I was actually determined, you know. Of course, I just like realized that I have to be educated.
Okay.
You know, I just thought that, you know, the only thing I can do for myself at that particular moment was to go to school. So in spite of all of the odds, you know, I refused. You know, as I said, there was a time that things became so tough that I could not even, like, I mean, pay for a particular term. You know, so what I had of a village not too far from, you know, Magoroka, where they were mining gold.
Okay.
You know, so I took a break for about 2 weeks. I went to that mining place, you know, and I began to help the people to carry the gravel.
At what age? What was
You know, I was just about, probably we can say about 14, 15 years of age.
Oh my goodness me. Okay.
You know, so I will go there, carry the gravel for the people, and at the end of the day, they will give me maybe 1 or 2 8 pan of gravel. Then I have to like wash that on my own to get some little gold. So I gathered that for about 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I sold the gold.
Wow.
You know, I got some money. I came back, paid my body home fees for that time. You know, I mean, paid my school fees. Then, of course, I bought some, you know, exercise books, you know, just for me like to be able to continue, you know, my education. Because I didn't want to drop out.
All right, okay, let's come to this, Bishop. There are some people who have the wrong notion that success is just something that, you know, you just bump into. You understand? But from your explanation, it appears as if there are some challenges, some crucibles that you have to go through. So, can you debunk this misconception that success is a wave, it's very smooth? Can you say something about that?
Yeah, probably maybe some people must have experienced that, you know, but I didn't experience that. So from my own personal experience, I don't think I will be easily able to subscribe, you know, that success is a smooth ride. Okay. You know, of course, it's possible because you know, all things are possible. Yeah. That some people have gotten an easy ride, you know, towards success. Mm-hmm. But for me, you know, it was really a very, very difficult path, you know, Bishop. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, there are a lot of things that some of us like went through that we may not even like have time to share all of those things, yes, you know, because it was very, very, very tough.
Yeah, so some are born great. So there's people who are born with silver spoon in their mouth.
That's right, yeah.
So they can make the statement.
That's right.
But for some of us now,
yes,
you know, when you talk about selling kerosene, I sold kerosene too.
You see?
I sold kerosene, and at Congo Town,
you see?
I went to the river to fish.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got some fish and we sold the fish and we survived. That's interesting. That's very interesting, Bishop. Bishop, so you were fortunate to be born into a nominal Christian family.
Yes, sir.
Unlike me.
Okay.
For my name, you understand.
Of course.
Abu Bakr Siddiqui
Original Islam.
you know that we hail from the Christian setting.
Yes.
We came from through the Islamic unit. Yeah. So tell us a bit about your life as a nominal Christian.
Yeah, Bishop, one of the good things that I'm grateful to God about is that from the time I was staying with my mom, because I told you earlier that I grew up actually being conscious that I was staying with my mom up to the time I got to class 3 before I moved to my father. Mm-hmm. You know, and my mom actually, even though she was not quote unquote, probably a born-again Christian at that time, but every Sunday we used to go to church.
Wow.
Yes, we used to go to the Missionary Church of Africa. Now they call it the MCA Church.
MCA,
yes, you know, so that was the church we used to go, you know, even from, because we stayed in Kabbalah for a while, for about 3 years. My mom was teaching there at the MCA school, you know, and of course, we always attend church. You know, that is something that my mother actually instilled in me, you know, to be going to church every Sunday. You know, of course, after I left my mother again, I came to my father. My father was actually the one that hosted the Adejobi Church.
Adejobi?
Yes, in Maguruka.
Mighty Kenkela.
Of course. So that also helped me because, honestly, even though now we somehow have some reservation about the Adejobi, but for me, there was some foundation I received, you know, at the Adejobi.
Okay.
Yes, because when I went to the Adejobi, the discipline of fasting was instilled in me. You know, at the Adejobi, we fast all kinds of fast, Bishop.
I know.
You know, we fast dry fast. We fast white fast. 21 days of fasting, 7 days of fasting. Imagine as a young boy, 12, 13 years, was a common thing for me.
Were you seeing vision?
I tried to see vision, but I could not see. You know, in fact, one of the things I always desired when we go to church, when people will be falling down, I wanted to fall down.
You didn't fall down?
I didn't fall down, Bishop. You know, but apparently, even I was a young boy, you know, the prophet, you know, was just liked me. So anytime he wants to pray for people, you know, I will be the one he will invite to go and stand with him, you know, bring the bucket of water because we have to pray over the water to do washing. You know, yes. That was where Bishop, I even memorized a lot of Psalms. You know, because in the Adejobi, they use a lot of Psalms. So when the prophet is reciting the Psalms to be praying for people, you know, I mean, as a young boy, I mean, he was reading, I was memorizing. So that's how come I became a little bit exposed, to memorizing the scriptures, to fasting, and to even like prayer.
Wow. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the voice of Bishop Dr. Julius Laga, a man who has left his footprint on the sand of time in our nation. He is here today to give us an inspiration of how God can turn your mess into a message, of how God can turn you from a zero to an abundance. So please, get your friends, get your family members to tune into this fine frequency of FM 98.9 by courtesy of the Paris Family Radio Universal and Destiny Radio by courtesy of Harvest Intercontinental Ministry Limited, which was former Bethel World Outreach, FM 94.1 and Flaming Voice of Hope. And maybe you are viewing us on Facebook or YouTube. Please get ready because we want you to be part of this program. And today you will see that I'm wearing a cap. So you wonder, why is Bishop wearing a cap? Well, on the cap you see it is written Impact, and the T-shirt too has Impact written on it. This was a gift from one of my spiritual son, who is no other person but Mr. Shokol of Cribs International Limited at number 125C Wilkinson Road, back of Crown Bakery. This man I went to dedicate this equipment for him. He came with them from China. He can design anything you want. Whatever you need from China, he has brought China over to us. So don't forget, he Cribs International, back of Crown Bakery. If you want something very special, he will do it for you. Thank you very much. All right, Bishop Blanca, back to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's very interesting to understand that if Jesus had not saved you, you would have become a prophet by now.
Of course, Bishop. I mean, that was the direction I was actually going, because, I mean, of course, that was all I knew about spirituality. In those days, much was not even known about being born again.
Oh, yeah, of course.
In fact, they always think that Adejobi was like the Pentecostal church.
Yes.
Because that was where you will feel the Spirit of God, so to speak. People will fall, I mean, they will prophesy to you.
Yes.
They will see visions. In fact, when people are sick, that is where they go to.
Yes.
I mean, we do all kinds of ceremonies on you. We do washing. We cover you with cloth, and heat you up with wine,
Wine.
Yeah, of course, wine, all of those things, I mean, then we have, of course, like holy water, that we give to people,
Okay.
and all of those things. So the Adejobi church was virtually like, the church at that time, so I was really aspiring that one day, I will serve God in that particular direction, but maybe God had a better plan for me.
Okay, all right. So then you had an encounter with Christ.
Yes, sir.
And that changed your perception about life.
Yes, sir.
Then I think you entered FBTC.
Yes, sir.
Freetown Bible Training Center. What did that do to help you, navigate your way to where you are today?
Yeah, before I go to FBTC, I also want to let you know that when my father died,
Okay.
I was disconnected somehow from the Adejobi church.
Okay, you got disconnected.
Yes, so
Right.
I found myself also going to a particular village after I started my O level.
Okay.
I went to a particular village where my mother was teaching.
Okay.
So I spent about 9 months, and the only church in that village was a Catholic church.
Oh.
Yeah, so I started now going to the Catholic for the first time.
Okay.
And again, for me, I became so committed to the Catholic Church. They even made me their